you've sort of divided the website up into four areas. So process, culture, structure, and leadership. And it's talking about the soft skills of rugby coaching. So not the tackle and the jackal, line out, scrum. It's all the things that are probably more off field in rugby. So you've answered it a lot, but I'm going to ask the question: why did you start Revolution Rugby? Why did you organise all this information?
Yeah, thanks, Brenny. Originally, well, coaching, I guess, is a relatively isolated profession. A lot of coaches that we've talked to operate on their own. They train after schools, after work, that kind of thing. There's not a lot out there that actually helps you deal with some of the stresses and the real issues of rugby. There's loads out there in terms of drills and skills, but the biggest issue I've had over the last 13, 14 years professional coaching is the learnings I get of how to interact with the team, and where do I get better at that side of things. Like, I always know I can go onto like the rugby side or other sites and get drills. I can talk to other people about the drills and skills, but there was never anything out there in terms of getting, what do I deal with? How do I deal with stresses? How do I soften stresses? How do I get better with developing team, the culture? How do you develop culture? Like, and I was lucky that mixing in a professional circle, the top professional coaches are very open, and I'm lucky that I can talk to these people regularly on a regular basis and pick people's brain, not around the detail of X's and O's of jackals and tackles and structures, but how do you discipline a player without losing the team? How do you win the trust of the change room? How do you develop your leaders so that they take more ownership? How do you get a culture where the players are accountable? Those type of questions, which is something which top end professional rugby strive for, because those areas are what defines great teams from mediocre teams. But those things are not confined to top professional teams. They flood every level of rugby, from under nines to high school to university to Ivy League schools to sevens to women's, everything. It's the better leadership and culture you have, the better it is to grow your skills in itself. The better the players are driving the team, the less stresses are on you as coach. And the more I got into that, me and Paul Galland, who set up Revolution Rugby, we started together at Otago Rugby. He was high performance, I was the head coach, and we set out that we wanted to grow this aspect, grow our players as leaders, to develop a good culture. And we'd basically just set up our own systems and just use it as an experiment to trial and error and see what worked, what didn't. I had some fantastic mentors myself that I would check in regularly with and go back and forth with the pros and cons, and have sympathetic ears that would listen to the failures as much as the successes. And when I talk to other coaches, most coaches that aren't at the high end professional don't have access to anything on this. Like your level 1, 2, 3 coaching courses, it doesn't even scratch the surface of how to develop the art of coaching. It's simply around, here's a line out structure, or here's a tackle technique, here's the checklist for doing a tackle well, which is all good stuff, but it's not the biggest bang for your buck. Where I don't feel like, once you've got the basics, that's fine. Then how do you get the players driving that? How do you get them doing it? So it's taking some pressure off you as the coach, so that those sort of concepts. And there was nothing out there online that answered those questions for us. So we thought, right, let's put our learnings into this, and let's do it. Let's do it ourselves. Let's be a resource tool that coaches particularly can come to and develop the art of the soft skill, the bits which, and we believe those grow your soft skills as a coach, as the art of coaching, and that's the foundation. And your skills and drills are the bits which that foundation is going to lead towards. So your leadership, your culture, those are your big rocks. If you get a great culture, it takes the rest of it can take care of itself if done well.